What if the very air you breathe beneath a canopy of ancient trees echoed with the weight of 1,000 untold stories? Of wanderers who vanished without a trace, of lanterns glowing where no soul should tread, and of whispers that rise from the moss like prayers unanswered. In this video, we will leave the safety of well-lit trails and journey into the world's most sinister woodlands. Japan's Sea of Trees, at the foot of Mount Fuji, Romania's Bermuda Triangle of Transylvania, Germany's primeval Black Forest, and the moss-draped shadows of Washington State's Olympic National Forest. Each of these places holds its own dark legacy, of suicides, of hauntings, of disorienting phenomena, and together they weave a tapestry of mystery that refuses to unravel. Aokigahara, Japan, the Sea of Trees. In the early morning hush, Aokigahara's endless pines stand sentry against the volcanic soil, an expanse so silent that the absence of wind feels deliberate, as though the forest itself holds its breath. For centuries, this 35-square-kilometer wood was whispered to harbor yūrei, Japanese ghosts bound by regret, their mournful cries carried on the wind. Samurai legends speak of defeated warriors choosing the forest as their final battlefield, while older folklore hints that it was a site of ubasut, the cruel practice of abandoning the elderly to die alone among the trees, sealing the forest's fate as a shrine of sorrow. By the 20th century, Aokigahara's sorrow took on a grim form: suicide. In 1960, 11 people ended their lives here. By the 1990s, the number climbed above 100 per year. In 2004 alone, authorities discovered 78 bodies among the trails and caves. Today, each path is lined with volunteers, each tree bearing laminated messages: "Your life is precious. Please think of your family," written in Japanese and English. A network of emergency phones connects directly to crisis counselors, and park rangers patrol daily. Yet every year, souls slip past the barricades of hope. An anonymous backpack appeared untouched near Narasawa Ice Cave, its contents a haphazard jumble of clothing, a well-worn journal, and a single Polaroid, a smiling couple against a Tokyo skyline. Days later, only the journal remained, its pages stained by rain. The final entry, written in shaky script, read, "I cannot go on." No body was ever found. Local guides speak of lanterns bobbing between trunks on moonless nights, of sudden temperature drops that freeze breath mid-exhale, and of disembodied sobs that vanish when approached. Some insist the forest's silence isn't emptiness but a living presence, an accumulation of every footstep, every whispered confession, every broken promise. Here the roots seem to remember grief, intertwining in patterns too deliberate to be natural. But not all haunted forests are born of sorrow alone. Some are charged by phenomena that warp physics and sanity alike. Let's journey now from Japan's forlorn stillness to Europe's most enigmatic wood. Romania's Hoia Baciu, the Bermuda Triangle of Transylvania, where reality itself seems to shudder under the weight of unseen forces. Just outside Cluj-Napoca, Hoia Baciu sprawls in tangled green, its outer edge a deceptive welcome of rustling leaves and dappled sunlight. Press deeper, though, and the trees twist into grotesque shapes, limbs bent back on themselves, trunks gnarled as if recoiling from a looming horror. Among locals, the forest is infamous. Compasses spin uncontrollably, electronics glitch without warning, and cameras snap photos of drifting orbs, translucent spheres that drift between the branches long after the shutters click. Legend tells of a shepherd named Baciu, who led his sheep here in the 18th century. One morning, he returned to find his flock fleeing in panic. When he chased them through the trees, he glimpsed himself, his exact double, walking deliberately away. Stunned, he fled, and when villagers found him, hours later, he babbled of unseen terrors. Today, drones overhead glimpse swirling, vortex-like shapes in the canopy, dark rings where nothing grows. Visitors report headaches and nausea as they approach the forest's heart, a clearing 12 meters wide where no trees have grown for centuries. Some speak of hearing soft laughter, others of low humming that vibrates the bones. Paranormal investigators who camp near the meadow recorded infrasound, a low-frequency sound below human hearing that fluctuated with their own pulse rates. Their compasses locked on north, pointing directly into the center, as if the forest itself beckoned them home. Cameras set up to capture orbs of light have recorded luminous spheres drifting between trunks, too organized for insects, too spectral for dust. Numerous hikers swear they saw pale figures perched like statues on fallen logs, vanishing when approached. One research team walked the perimeter for 3 days without sighting wildlife. On the 4th morning, they discovered dozens of rabbit skeletons, bleached and arranged in a perfect circle around the clearing. Though scientists propose explanations, magnetic anomalies, industrial pollution, naturally occurring gases, no theory neatly accounts for the forest's emotional weight, the breadcrumbs of human despair left among the roots, or the archaeologists' sudden lockdown of leaf-covered ruins unearthed near the clearing in the 1990s, believed to be ancient ritual sites. In Hoia Baciu, nature and nightmare converge, and those who pass through its silent arches often leave changed, carrying with them the forest's quiet madness. From the twisted pines of Transylvania, we travel to the dark heart of Germany, where fairy tales were born amidst forests that have seen both moonlight and blood. The Black Forest, the realm of the Waldweibchen. Stretching over 6,000 square kilometers, the Schwarzwald, literally Black Forest, has inspired the Grimm brothers' tales of witches and wolves. Here, first so dense they blot out the sun, stand sentinel over moss-covered stones and hidden springs, where villagers once whispered about the Waldweibchen, the forest woman whose green cloak dripped with dew and whose song lured the unwary into thickets they never escaped. In the village of Triberg, hikers often collapse in midsummer heat, disoriented by the forest's uncanny uniformity. In 1983, a group of students on a folklore tour carried ornate lanterns along a historic trail. Halfway through, 2 girls bolted screaming into the village, insisting they saw a cloaked figure under a centuries-old yew, its face turned away, yet somehow fixed upon them. The rest of the group traced their tracks, only to find undisturbed leaf litter and a silence as deep as a stone well. Camper vans parked in designated clearings sometimes lose radio reception altogether. Their occupants wake to find footprints circling the site, though no other tents stand within a kilometer. Medical reports from regional hospitals reveal clusters of hypothermia cases in summer months. Walkers found dazed, partially undressed, their clothing damp in 30-degree heat. Their accounts share a common thread, an oppressive presence that seemed to chill the air around them, and footsteps echoing just beyond the flashlight beam. Seasoned forest rangers admit that at dusk, the forest's hush transforms into a living thing, scuttling among roots, sighing in sighs too low to be wind. Even the wildlife behaves strangely. Owls gather in unnatural numbers in certain glades, their silent wings blotting out starlight. Deer stand motionless on ridge crests, staring at nothing in particular. And when the wind blows through the treetops, it carries a chorus of distant whispers, words just beyond comprehension, as though the Ballenhut from local lore were chanting an ancient incantation meant only for the trees. As Europe's primeval tales fade into memory, the Pacific Northwest invites us into an evergreen realm where indigenous myth and modern mystery intertwine beneath a cathedral of cedars. The Olympic National Forest. The whispers in the evergreen shadows. Along Washington State's Pacific coast lies the Olympic National Forest, its firs and cedars draped in living moss that sways like ghostly hair in the mist. Beneath this cathedral of green, kayakers on Lake Crescent have glanced back to see dark shapes on shore, companions only visible in reflections, vanishing when the boats draw closer. Forest biologists have installed hidden cameras at frequent reporting sites. The footage shows dark, vertical shapes standing motionless among the trees, too tall to be deer, too still to be humans. These silhouettes remain glimpsed only on infrared recordings, their outlines blurred, as if the camera itself hesitates to capture them. Indigenous tribes pass down stories of Takset, the spirit of cool shadows, who claimed the souls of those who disrespected sacred groves. In the 1980s, a forest patrol discovered a campsite of abandoned tents, boots lined neatly by the entrance, food still cooking on smoldering coals, and the door flung open to the night. Inside, only a single mud-caked shoe remained. No footprints leading away, no cry for help, just the echo of a person who slipped into the forest's hush and was never found. Night hikers speak of guttural chanting that seems to ripple through the trunks, and of soft, rhythmic snapping in the underbrush, as though an unseen hunter stalked them. Rangers who descend from remote patrol huts report compass needles that swing wildly and GPS units that mark them miles from their camp before locking onto a green canopied clearing that doesn't exist on any map. Photographers drawn to the forest's stark beauty capture inexplicable streaks of light, long exposures revealing lines that twist around trees like spectral vines. One wildlife biologist, studying the rare Olympic marmot, abandoned his research after recording a high-pitched keening in his audio logs, a sound not produced by any known animal, but eerily similar to the cries of a distant child. Across these 4 haunted forests, a singular truth emerges: places can remember. They absorb human emotion, despair, wonder, terror, and weave it into the very fabric of their being. Roots become repositories of sorrow, shadows, archives of the unseen. In Aokigahara, the trees stand as mute witnesses to countless endings. In Hoia Baciu, the laws of physics tremble at the forest's core. In the Black Forest, ancient folklore finds new life in unexplained chills and spectral sightings. And in the Olympic woods, indigenous legend melds with modern mystery to create a living tapestry of fear and reverence. Each forest beckons with an irresistible question: what lies beyond the edge of light? Perhaps the answer is not a ghost or a spirit, but something deeper. A reminder that our world is more porous than we imagine, that memory and myth can carve themselves into stone and soil, and that the unknown may dwell just beyond the reach of our rational minds. So, should you ever find yourself beneath a cathedral of trees, take a moment to listen. Feel the hush of the canopy, sense the pulse of the earth beneath your feet, and watch for shapes that stir at the edge of vision. Because in haunted forests, the line between the living and the unseen grows thin, and in that thinness, the forest speaks. So, dare to step into the shadows? The path awaits, but it may never quite lead you home.